Hey guys, and welcome back to another tutorial. It's been a while since I've done like a legit tutorial, so I'm starting this off by just putting a dewy finish primer all over my face. This one is by Wet n Wild. Then I'm taking my favorite foundation combo. This is the No. 7 Lift and Luminate and the Wet n Wild Photofocus. I do 2 pumps of the Lift and Luminate and then one kind of spatula full of the Wet n Wild. And I'm just spreading that all over my face with a flat foundation brush. And then I'm taking this e.l.f. blending brush. It's a flatter topped but still dense foundation brush, and I'm just buffing that into the skin. I'm using short patting motions for the most part, kind of like you would with a beauty blender, because I just find this gives the best finish when applying foundation with a brush. Next, I'm taking this Becca Under Eye Corrector. It's got kind of a peachy tint to it, which helps to cancel out any blue under the eyes, but it's also very moisturizing and very dewy looking. So it's great to put under concealers that are a little bit more dry, like the one I'm going to use today. And I'm just tapping that in with a tiny little sponge. This is by Real Techniques. Next, I'm going in with the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Waterproof Concealer, and I'm just putting that under my eyes where all my dark circles are. This concealer has pretty good coverage, but it can be very drying, which is why we put that Becca corrector underneath. And it's just going to help make this not look so dry. I find when I have that under, or as long as my under eyes are super moisturized, this looks beautiful. But on its own, it can look a little dry, so just a fair warning if you're planning on picking this up. I'm adding a little bit more here after I blended it out with my big Real Techniques sponge, just on the darkest parts of my golem circles. Next, for my bronzer slash contour, I'm taking the NYX Wonder Stick. This shade is supposed to be a contour stick, but it's fairly warm, so you can kind of get away with just using this and not bronzer and contour. And I wanted to do this mostly just to make the blush the main focus, but to still give some definition to my face. I put this in the hollows of the cheeks and around the forehead and temples, and then under the jawline and chin, just to make that more pronounced. I'm also putting some on the tip of my nose and down the sides. This is in part to contour my nose a little bit, but it's mostly just to tie everything together since we have bronzer on the rest of the face. And then I'm taking that same foundation brush, and as you can see, I pinched it to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm using this to blend out my contour on my cheeks, and I'm dragging upward on the cheeks just to really lift that cheekbone and make sure it doesn't get dragged down. And then along the perimeter of the face, I'm just dragging it back into the hairline because you don't want to see like bronzer or contour and then like your scalp. You really want it to blend seamlessly in with your hairline, so I'm just dragging that back. Using buffing motions again, and I find that works best to blend in this type of product. For the chin area, I'm using that same foundation brush, and I'm dragging the product down, but I don't want to bring it too far down so that it's like my entire neck, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of contouring that area. But I am dragging it down a little bit so it blends in more with my face, skin, neck, all of the above, really. Now that I have all of my cream products on, I'm going over once again with my sponge just all over my face just to make sure everything is blended and seamless. This is a good trick to do before you powder your face because it's just going to make everything look more cohesive. Next, I'm taking this Naked Cosmetics powder. It's just a translucent powder. just what I had on hand. You can use any powder you like, really. And I'm just setting the under eyes and over top of my lids where I generally crease. And I didn't get this filmed, but I usually set my nose and my nasal labial fold as well. Those are like my laugh lines. Now moving on to the star of the show, this is the So Susan blush in Rose Rust, and I'm just popping this in the crease at first, and I'm also going to really drag this out on the outer corner because we want the eyeshadow to kind of connect to the blush. I've been seeing this trend going around a lot this summer, and I just think it looks so gorgeous. This look specifically was inspired by a look that Gothfruits did on Instagram, and he had like this blush and it tied in with this pink red eyeshadow, and I thought that was so gorgeous. So I'm kind of doing a little bit of a toned down version. But after I've got that transition blush all blended in there, I'm taking Love Plus by Sugarpill. It's a red eyeshadow. And I'm just kind of patting this all over the lid and really building it up. And then we are going to blend it out. I'm taking more of that blush now on a stiffer blending brush, and I'm using this to blend out that red eyeshadow and just using circular motions and windshield wiper motions going back and forth to really make it seamless and all blend together. And then I'm also popping it over top of the red eyeshadow, again just to make everything just be super cohesive and blended. Going back in with a little bit of the red eyeshadow just to add more dimension. I'm also taking this down as my drop shadow. And then I'm using that blush again and the same brush just to blend everything out. The key to this is just blending and make everything look super blown out and pretty. And now I'm taking this deeper purple shadow. This is from the Kathleenlights Morphe palette. And I'm placing that super close to the lash line just to add a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to go back in with Love Plus and go over top and really blend it out. And I kind of go back and forth with these two shades and a couple different brushes just to make everything look super seamless. You just kind of have to feel it out and keep blending until you get the look that you desire. And now comes the fun part. I'm taking that same blush on a smaller blush brush, and I'm putting that where I would normally put blush on the apples of the cheeks and dragging it up towards the temple. But then as you see here, I'm also connecting it with the eyeshadow, and that's really going to give the effect that we want for this look. And I'm really just building this up and then going in with a smaller brush as well, just to blend everything together. But that really wasn't enough pigment for me. You can certainly just stop there, but I decided to go in with a little bit more of Love Plus, and I really tapped this off and also brushed some of it off on my arm because I didn't want it to be too red. And I'm also placing that on the same places where I placed the blush. It's just got a bit more pigment to it, and it's really going to show up on the face and give you that editorial blushed out look that we're going for here. I'm also taking any residual product and just putting it on my forehead and my nose just a little bit. I still want the cheeks to be the main focus. Then I'm taking a pinky toned highlight from Anastasia Beverly Hills and popping that on the cheekbones. I'm also going to do a little bit of a nose highlight. I'm also going to lightly sweep that under the brow bone just to tie everything together. I did super natural brows today, but it's whatever. And then on the Cupid's bow, and then I'm taking a flat-topped fluffy brush to really blend that highlight in, and then going over top of it with the blush brush to make it look very cohesive and blended. I went ahead and applied some mascara and falsies off camera. Then I'm going in with this NYX Butter Gloss. I forget the shade name, but I'll link it below. It's just a sheer pinky gloss. I know it looks really intense in the tube, but it's really not on the lips. Now I'm going in with the NYX Dewy Setting Spray just to give myself more of a glow. And then I'm also going to go over with the Urban Decay All Nighter to make everything last. If I was not running late, I would have put some bronzer down my neck to blend that a little bit better, but you know, things happen. Then I'm just tapping all that in with my sponge. I find this gives a nice pretty finish to the skin. And that is pretty much it. I had a lot of fun doing this look. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all again soon.